Hello there, my name is Luke and it's such a relief to say that again. It's been so long since I've done a video where I'm just talking to you guys and I've missed it. I've been off for about a week from YouTube. I've been quite busy, I've been ill a little bit as well, so I'm back now. It's half term, so I've got plenty of time to get some good videos done, and this one is going to be a review of the season so far. So we're about 16 games in for the National League, about 14 or 15 for the National League North and South, so it's a good enough time to sort of reflect on the start of the season and see who's had a really good start and not done so well, and we can sort of start to see who's going to be the teams that are going to be up near the top and the bottom of the league come the end. So I'm going to start off in the National League and start off at the bottom, and the bottom is Guiseley, who replaced their manager Mark Bauer with their caretaker at the time, Adam Lockwood, who was a defender for Guiseley before that. He's now their permanent manager, and he's not been able to change a lot around. It took them until 14 games into the season to get a victory, and they're now on 9 points, bottom of the league after 16 games. Not great. In 2030, Southport, who've also replaced their manager, they replaced Andy Bishop with Steve Burr. Steve Burr, a manager that I know really, really well from his time at Harriers. Really quality manager he is, so he'll be... well, I would back him to get Southport out of it. He's an absolutely outstanding manager at this level. He nearly won us the league a few years ago. Then in 22nd place is North Ferriby United. They are the only team in the bottom four that hasn't replaced their manager. They've got Steve Howsham in charge, and they've only scored 6 goals so far this season. They are the lowest scorers. They're struggling to make the step up from the National League North to the National League, and I would worry for them to go down. In 21st is Braintree Town. They are on 10 points as well, same as the two below them. So Jamie Day has been replaced with Hakan Hayrettin. So Jamie Day only came in at the start of the season for the Cowley brothers, who went to Lincoln. They're doing okay at Lincoln so far. They are in 3rd place in the league, but Braintree, they're not doing great, are they really, in comparison to last season? But it was always going to be really hard. A lot of their squad was taken, and they've just not really found a settled team that can replicate what they did last year. So moving up the table a little bit more, and into 19th place is York City. Big underachievers so far this season. Obviously with Jackie McNamara in charge last season, they got relegated to the National League and they have started horrendously. They've been really poor, and it's resulted in McNamara leaving his role as manager and actually being appointed as chief executive of the club because he has apparently invested into the club. So they couldn't actually sack him. That's why it took so long to sack him. But it ended up in him resigning, basically being forced to resign by the looks of things. So then they still kept him at the club as the chief executive and now have Gary Mills as the new manager. He didn't manage to get off to a winning start as he lost in the FA Cup to Curzon Ashton, and then drew in the league to Chester on Saturday. Up to 14th place and on 22 points is Wrexham, another team that has changed their manager. They've sacked Gary Mills, as I mentioned just then. He's gone to York City. They haven't appointed a new manager yet. They've got Dean Keats as their caretaker manager, a former Wrexham player. But they're a team that gets massive crowds. They've got a huge stadium, one of the most well-supported teams in non-league. They're a fan-owned club, so they would be expecting better from their players, especially seeing teams with much smaller budgets and smaller fan bases being higher up in the league so far this season. Then moving one place above them into 13th is Sutton United. They are on 23 points so far this season. They've made the best start out of the newly promoted sides to the league. They're doing quite well, really. I think they would be really happy with how they've started. They're comfortably above the relegation zone under Paul Doswell's management. Moving up the league a bit more is Eastleigh. They are on 27 points in 10th place. Probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest budget in the entire league. They have got so much money. They buy ridiculously experienced players that have played in the Football League for years and years, the likes of Ryan Creswell and Reader Johnson. So they've got an absolutely outstanding squad with a really good manager as well, Ronnie Moore, but they'll be disappointed to just be in 10th at this stage of the season, about a third of the way through, but they are by no means out of the playoff picture. They are only 3 points outside of the top 5. And talking of the top 5, in 5th place so far is Barrow. They've been really impressive under Paul Cox. They've recruited well from the lower leagues in the summer. The likes of Moussa Diarra, who got the Player of the Month for September for the National League, so he's been really impressive at centre back. So they've got goals in the team as well. They replaced Andy Cook. I was worried that they wouldn't be able to really replace the number of goals that he scored last year, but they've replaced him with Byron Harrison, who has brought a lot of experience into the team. He scored, I think, about 7 goals so far this season, so he's been a good source of goals. Moving up to 4th place, and it is a team that is on 30 points, the same as Barrow, and it is Tranmere Rovers. They've replaced their manager Gary Brabin with Mickey Mellon, legend of the club, so the fans are happy with that. They never really took to Brabin, so they've been wanting him out for a long time, even though the sort of first 7 or 8 games this season went really, really well for Tranmere. Once they sort of dropped off the pace a bit, he was gone, and a former fans' favourite in Mickey Mellon was brought back into Tranmere from Shrewsbury in League One. He's a man that's won the conference before, back when he was with Fleetwood, so he's got the experience of that, and he's the man that the fans seem to be taken to. There is another team on 30 points. They're in 3rd place. It's Lincoln City under the Cowley brothers. In at the start of the season, they brought a bit of a change in the way that they play. They play some really nice football up at Lincoln. They've got some players on big wages as well. They've spent quite a bit of money. They've just bought Elliot Whitehouse from the Nuneaton. They're also trying to sign Simeon Akinola from Braintree and Ricky Miller from Dover. So they've got their big, really high-profile targets for non-league anyway. So if they can pull off these sorts of signings, then they're going to be up near the top of the league by the end of the season. Then in 2nd is a newly relegated side in Dagenham and Redbridge. Obviously the other team that got relegated, York City, are way down in 19th. They haven't started well, but Dagenham and Redbridge, they've readapted to non-league really, really well. They're up on 32 points, in 2nd place in the league under John Still. He's got experience with this league. He's won the league with Luton Town a few years ago, so he knows how to get out of this league, and he's the man that really, I think, will lead them there. He's been in charge of Dagenham over, I think, 3 or 4 spells. So up in 1st is Moneybags Forest Green, led by Dale Vince, the chairman, who's got this big vision of them being in the Championship in the next few years, which is a bit mad, but oh well. He's appointed Mark Cooper at the start of this season to replace Eddie Pennock of last year. They actually sacked him just before the playoff final, which was a strange decision to say the least. But Mark Cooper's come in, and he made a little bit of a slow start, but they've recovered really, really well, and they've won a lot of games now in a row, and they're right up near the top of the league. At home, Aldershot Town have the best record in the league. They've got 19 points from 8 games. They've only been beaten once at home. That was by Forest Green. They were beaten 4-0. But the Recreation Ground is a really, really tough place to go this season. The team with the worst home record is Braintree Town. They've only picked up 5 points from 8 games down at Cressing Road. Interestingly though, Lincoln City, who are currently in 3rd, they have got the 13th best home record. They've only got 14 points from 8 games, so they're right down below mid-table in terms of home form, but obviously they make up for it with their away form. So the best away team in the league is Forest Green Rovers. They've got 18 points from 8 games away from home. They've been absolutely outstanding on the road and at home really this season. They've been an outstanding outfit in the National League. Interestingly, in 2nd is Boreham Wood, who have got 16 points from 8 games away from home. The worst away record in the league is Guiseley. They've only got 1 point away from home, still winless away from home. That's really, really poor. York City as well, they've only got 2 points away from home. They haven't won away from home in over a year. That is unbelievable. North Ferriby United, they've only scored 2 goals away from home. They've got 3 points away from home, which is 1 victory. So they've only scored 2 goals. I really worry for North Ferriby at this stage of the season. I think they're probably going to finish bottom, even below Guiseley, because they just don't score enough goals. In the last 5 games, Forest Green are in the best form. They've got 13 points, absolutely on fire. In 2nd is Chester, who started off the season a bit dodgy, but they've really, really recovered of late. They are now in the second. They've got the 2nd best form in the last 5 games. They've got 11 points, 8 goals scored, only 1 conceded. That's really impressive, actually. And the team in the last 7 games with the worst form is North Ferriby. They've got no wins, no goals. They've conceded 7. The top scorer in the National League is Ricky Miller. He scored 14 goals already this season, including 4 at the weekend. He's absolutely on fire. In 2nd is Oliver Hawkins of Dagenham and Redbridge. Again, a striker that is on fire. He scored 10 goals so far this season. In 3rd is a bit of a surprise. It's Morgan Ferrier, who was an interesting signing for Boreham Wood in the summer. He has got 8 goals. Then in 4th is Akwasi Asante, a player who used to play for Harriers. Didn't score a single goal for us in about just under a year with us. Then he left and went to Solihull. Was with them last season. Scored an absolute hatful of goals. Scored so many. A big reason as to why they got up to the National League. Now he's scored 7 so far this season. Also on 7 is Andy Cook of Tranmere, James Norwood of Tranmere and Byron Harrison of Barrow. So there you have it, that is the roundup of the National League so far this season. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to stay tuned for the National League North, which will be uploaded very, very soon, and then the National League South, where we actually have a special guest for that video. So if you've enjoyed this video, then hit that like button and subscribe, and thanks for watching.